Greetings and welcome to Moringa Tea and Answers, where we drink Moringa tea and go through some of the most prominent questions you may have had this week about the moringa tree. I'm Kendrick Henry, and I started Numa Nursery and the Moringa Growers Co-op about 6 years ago. And we have planted thousands and thousands of moringa trees on other people's properties in the Tampa Bay area, and we're now spreading as a global organization, teaming up with farmers, moringa farmers around the world, supplying everyone with moringa in a local type environment and setting. What I mean by that is, I'm in Tampa, and someone from Texas may want to order moringa from our company, but we may have a moringa grower in Texas that's registered with the co-op, and we're able to supply that person in Texas with, say, that moringa farmer in Texas. And so that way we can kind of, as a hub, collect moringa from around the world and get it to where it needs to go smartly, and not just bring everything in, mix it all up, and ship it out, because there's different grades, there's different standards, and I do believe that we should begin to test and mark these baselines of moringa standards around the world, and that's what the Moringa Growers Co-op is going to help achieve. I love moringa tea and answers in the morning because it gets me moving, it gets me shaking, it gets me flowing, gets the mucus. This is nice and warmed up. Uncle Bob makes this in a French press. What he'll do is he'll take moringa tea loose and he'll steep it in a French press. This is our moringa tree starter kit, and let's do a little product reveal as if you were to get this in the mail. Oh yes! And inside the moringa tree starter kit, oh, beautiful, nicely wrapped. That smells great. Wow, thank you, Jacob, Tori, Uncle Bob, for just helping us to make these products by hand and put them in the starter kit. There's $160 worth of products that come with the starter kit right now for a limited time for only $49 on the numanursery.com website. This is how Uncle Bob makes the tea with loose leaf. Look at that. Woo, super fresh. Just harvested. Actually, we just made a harvest yesterday too. And we're getting these to you super fast. That's the tea in a loose. This is also tea, but it has 3 little reusable baggies inside, so you can use those. Wow. I like moringa smoothies, so we have moringa powder. Look at that, super bright, vibrant. Capsules, it comes with moringa capsules. Gotta love the capsules. On the go, the fastest way to use moringa bath bomb, moringa bath bomb. We put our moringa seed oil in there. I love getting mucus out in the morning. We've got moringa seeds. Moringa seeds in there to grow your own trees. There's at least 10 seeds in there. Some moringa spice. Oh yes, that's moringa green powder with moringa turmeric. We have a tea strainer in here, which also allows you to make tea from the loose and future. We have moringa leaf extract. This is very good for fast-acting anti-inflammatory responses, blood sugar and blood pressure regulators. And then we also, oh, very nice, we've got 2 new products. We have got vegan skin salve and a vegan deodorant, all with the moringa seed oil in it that we press right here fresh from the moringa seeds. And so this box, which I wrote a book about moringa and put it in the box for you to read, comes with a guide, how to grow guide, and 10 free moringa trees. You may see some of these moringa trees in the back here. That's about 250 trees right there. Notice how they're yellowing out? They're getting older and they're growing up. And so we're going to go ahead and pop these leaves off on the bottom. And look, all new growth at the very top as it's dropping the older leaves off to compost. And she's growing up brand new and tall and strong. And this is a good sign. She's got some new growth at the very top there. And we've got several people that ordered. Oh my gosh, we shipped out 1,000 trees this week. We literally shipped out 1,000 trees this week. Thank you, Tori. Thank you, Jacob. Thank you, Uncle Bob. Thank you, everybody who supports local. Dang, Uncle Bob, that's some good moringa tea. And thank you for getting your moringa tree starter kits at Moringa Tree Starter Kit at numanursery.com, because you can see that people are saying, let's see what people say when they get their trees. Okay. Let's do comments. Most recent comments. This is just from our emails. You can email grow@numanursery.com anytime, and I will get back to you and let me know what you have to say about your trees. You know, send me some photos of your property if you need some help designing out your moringa food forest. Tommy says the 10 trees were beautiful and in great shape when they arrived. I have a feeling they looked just like what they do right here. I mean, they may have yellowed out a little bit. You pull the yellows off. They might be a little bit droopy and wilty. Go ahead and just get it some water, maybe get it some sun. It was in a dark pot for a couple of days, so it lost some of that. It absorbed some of that. It expelled some of that nitrogen, which then would droop it. That nitrogen is what gets the firmness in there too. And so that's when you know, like sometimes when plants are like really droopy, that's why they use fertilizers, sometimes liquid fertilizers, to just help get a little bit of nitrogen in there, because when it's in the pot, it just doesn't have that connection with the earth. It's really tough to get plants looking good in pots. But we do our best as nursery men and women to grow things organically in pots, so that way they look at least presentable, so that way you can plant it and then it'll yes. All right. Mark says, thank you for shipping my Moringa Tree Starter Kit so fast. Very nice of you, Mark. Thank you so much, because we have just now caught up on over 500 orders that we got in 3 weeks. We got caught up. We're all caught up. Thanks to Uncle Bob, Tori, Jacob, and our crew that's coming on helping us. We're all caught up. These trees are now getting shipped out as they come in. I think we got 11 starter kit orders just yesterday. So those are coming out. It's Saturday morning, so happy Moringa Saturday. And thanks for joining us today on Moringa Tea as we continue to get these out. We'll probably start shipping again on Monday. Order your Moringa Tree Starter Kit now. You can get 10 free Moringa trees. Mark says they look great. Thanks for shipping so fast. Dolores, actually local, she's in Zephyr Hills, said that she received the new skin salve. She loved it, and it actually helped clear up her eczema super fast. Dolores is 86 years old, and she is healthy as ever right now. She's healing herself, blood sugar, blood pressures, issues, possibly, just with that coming excess weight, getting a little bit older. And the moringa is helping keeping her metabolism up. It's helping to keep her thinner, in a sense that moringa is a slight detox, in that it has fiber in it, lots of fiber, and it helps to just pull toxins out of the body with that natural fiber. And that's what that natural detoxing is with moringa. And also it helps to cleanse, I believe, heavy metals. It absorbs heavy metals out of the body. And so, as we get older, we tend to accumulate heavy metals possibly. And so it's good to always have like a healthy detoxing regimen. And thanks to Dolores and her order of actually capsules, she gets capsules regularly. Like every month she'll go through maybe 200, maybe 250 capsules. I think she says she's taking like 6 a day. She'll just take 2 every few hours, before, after 30 minutes before, after a meal, with warm water, 8 ounces of warm water. And she says she'll just do that several times a day, and that helps with her energy, helps with her metabolism, helps with her electrolytes, helps with protein, anti-inflammatory. It keeps keeps her limber and moving throughout the day. And I find it to be the exact same way too. So all ages get to benefit from the anti-inflammatory properties of moringa. Oh, we got people texting us. Oh my gosh. Wonderful. Well, we have someone on the way. A helper today is coming by. Josie says she's going to come by to do some training. That's great. If you would like to text, we have a new text line, a new business text line. It's 813-567-3100. And you can text me. Actually, I'm going to text Josie back right now. Doing a video now, and will be done in an hour or so. Okay, great. So we're gonna get help today. It's Saturday, and this is what it's about. We're doing hours between 10 and 2. We have a scheduled pickup, so that way you can come to the farm. It's helping us. We'll be able to track things a little bit better, because say we want to get grants or support from the state, we can prove, how many customers are really interested in coming in for moringa. Helps us to be able to track how many customers we have coming in on a daily basis. Also in the morning, we can print that sheet out, and everybody can see, when people are coming. That way they can help me if I may be with someone in the back, giving a tour, offering some greens and trees. Actually, let's go see. I just want to see the little babies real quick. So we have a volunteer that comes out every week, and he lives in St. Pete. His name is Blake, and thanks to Blake, we now have like 3,000 moringa seed trees growing. It took him several hours throughout the whole week. And maybe 8 hours, maybe 10 hours to get all these trees planted up. Thousands of trees. These ones are just now starting to sprout. I mean, we even have them on the ground here. What? Oh, okay, I was gonna say, I thought those, got them all the way on the ground here. So thank you, Blake. Thank you so much, Blake, helping us get started, and just for all the volunteers and helpers that are really just coming out and helping us grow this moringa tree industry here in the Tampa Bay area. I think I got some water in my glasses. Those are the trees probably that most people are going to be receiving here shortly. So these ones are about to be potted up. So they're yellowing out. They've been in there for a couple weeks, and we're probably going to put them in a 1 gallon. We're probably going to put them in a 1 gallon from here, so this is like a 1 gallon. And I brought this one just to show you, because it's kind of, wilty. It's got like, a leaf, and a lot of people are like, like, this doesn't look good. And this is learning about moringa. This is one of the reasons why don't I see moringas, because it's not that aesthetically pleasing as popular, because it doesn't look, I'm sorry, baby. You look fine. You look fine, okay? But it doesn't look like an ornamental plant. It's going through stages and phases. It doesn't always have, the prettiest looking leaves. One of the gifts of moringa is because it's so regenerative in our body and in the in the plant world, it's the fastest growing tree in the world, is because it's growing so fast, and it's not going to be like an oak tree looks like all year. It's got a shorter lifespan, it's got thinner bark, and it's constantly just shedding and growing and absorbing and pulling in moisture and water and breathing that out. And so it might not look, I just put from a cone, I just went from this cone into here, and now a couple of days later, it's like, oh no, oh no. But we're keeping the soil away from the base here. We don't want it to eat it up, because what will happen is sometimes if, like, say right now, we don't have, like, we just moved in, and in my standards, I would love to have much better soil. Now, this is still perfectly good soil for what we're trying to do, but you don't want to put stuff around the base, otherwise it eats up at that if it's still breaking down. Ideally, I would love to have more composted soil already ready with microorganisms, worms, and stuff already in it, then going in. But since we just got the load of soil now, we've got to do with what we have. We're working, we're trying to get things going. And so it works. It's going to break down, but it's a little bit, I mean, you may find like, oh no, it's kind of thing. It's, it doesn't look, it's wonky. It's got yellowing leaves. Trust, like, those root systems are building. It may not look pretty now, but just do your tree a favor, even if it's not looking so good up top like that, and even just pop that top. I know that was drastic, but it's okay. What that does, if there's a node there, there's a node there. What that's going to do is that's going to start strengthening this up, and there's even a node down there possibly that another one might pop up. So that's what I'm encouraging, is that if you've got your tree, and this is already getting into some of the questions, and you're just getting it in, and it doesn't look good. People are asking, what do I do? Let me go ahead and go to one of the emails, because he actually had pictures. Who was it? Stan. And he did just before we say anything about Stan, is that he did message us back after sending these pictures. He was a little confused as to what was going on, and why he received his trees and why they looked the way they did when he got them. He read the information, he read the book, he read the box, he read all his stuff, and he sent us an email and he said, hey, I'm sorry, I'm going to do exactly what you said here, and we'll get back to you. So Stan just got his trees. I guess I can. Stan got his trees, and they look a little wilted. He's holding them there, and they look a little bit like they're in shock. Here we had one person said they look great. Another person says they look wilted, they're in shock. He's sending us photos, completely confused, doesn't know what's going on. This is learning about the moringa tree. Also myself learning, yes, we can ship them. Yes, you can get trees. It's one of the reasons why we're offering 10 free trees, is because this is an experiment for us as well, to see what we can do, what we can send. Might as well hop on, see how many you can get. It's free. We're going through this process to teach you how to grow moringa, teach the world how to grow moringa, help us help others, about moringa, by letting us know exactly what's happening when you're getting them. They're looking a little bent. Is it too young for us to be shipping these out like these? I don't think so. I think we just need to have more confidence in the moringa itself, knowing what's down in there. It's not always what's on the surface. It's about what's inside. and we're focused on the roots. We're focused on the roots. Yes, you might have this up top, but we know the resilience and the ability for moringa to bounce back. And as long as it's being cared for, you can get your moringa tree to grow big and strong, actually. Uh, so yesterday we harvested some trees from Trail Bell Farm, and this is a taproot that was growing off of a cutting, and it turned, and it went more horizontal along the soil. So when we grabbed it and pulled it up, it went like this. I mean, we could probably stick that in the ground, like cut that off, stick this in the ground. Yes, stick that straight down in the ground, and that would grow a whole new tree. Cut that, and that would grow a whole new tree. Check this out. We stuck this in the ground like this. We stuck it in the ground like this. It was completely covered in the ground, and it ended up growing some roots. This is moringa. So what I was thinking was about even just putting this in the ground and letting this regrow all new from the bark. That's why I always say, from the bark, as long as you have bark on it, you can grow moringa. Notice how it's all growing from the edges? It's from the bark. It's like your fingers. Yes. And then this one was from a cutting as well. We went ahead and chopped it along the sides here, and this is starting to start growing new roots. And we're going to stick this in the ground, and this is going to regrow into a whole new tree. You can see where I cut it, and then potentially it would split. And then I cut it again, and then it split. Wherever you cut it, it will split. And that's why we're going to get into this. You know, Stan, I don't want you to be sad. I don't want anybody to be sad when they get their trees. This is why you may not see moringa in the stores or see moringa out. Why haven't you heard about moringa? Because it doesn't look like it's alive a lot of times, unless I mean, also traveling, like these leaves are super thin. They don't have like a protective covering like other leaves when traveling. Like they're super thin. They're gonna get super wilty. They're gonna yellow out. But that's what's so powerful about the moringa, is that it's so fast and regenerating. Just pop it. You can keep them in here. So for Stan, he's got them. What do? They look a little wilted. Just let them bounce back. And we actually had one of our customers and friends, Ken from YouTube, Garvin Gardens, made a video of his unveiling and unwrapping of his moringa starter kit. And his trees look pretty good. Yes, they were yellowing. And he also mentioned, you know, just popping those yellow leaves off, possibly just getting it out, water. Just make sure this is moist now for the next couple days. When you first get it, get in a little bit of sun, a little bit of shade. And then what you're going to do is you're going to squeeze these edges. You're just going to squeeze these edges here. And you're going to try to slowly just kind of wiggle it out. And this is why you want it to be really moist in there. And we're experimenting now with different soils compositions. You know, these first couple batches, they might have been a little bit more sandy. They might have dried out a little bit faster. You know, just be patient with us as we're learning. Help us. Let us know what's going on as we get better at it. I mean, these are 10 free moringa trees you're coming with $60 worth of product, and everything that makes it is a gift of nature. And if they didn't make it, just let us know. We can try again. We provided extra seeds in the box too for you. But this is the golden part, which is why I'm not worried about your wilted trees up top, because this is why we grow it here for what's inside at the bottom. Yes, and just a few more days from even just a couple days ago, look how much bigger it is. Beautiful. Wow. That's that Moringa taproot. And that's why I'm not so worried about what it looks like up here. Just get it watered. This may completely die off. But as long as you have this inside this cone pot and it's sitting in there and you're watering it, it's going to resprout a new tip. Give it some food. Give it some tea. Give it some fertilizer. Give it some compost. You know, just keep it moist. And if you don't feel comfortable taking out right away and you wanted to get it a little bit more stronger before pulling it out, that's fine. But just know that this is the main beauty that you're getting. And this is what we're doing here is knowing, okay, now that they're this big and they're yellowing out, it's fine. We're going to send you the younger ones so that way they're greener. I mean, you tell me which ones do you want? Do you want the older ones that are even bigger but are a little bit more yellow? We're also going to start shipping possibly soon so that way we can alleviate some of these questions and concerns with say, and I just popped these tops off. Oh, it's starting to sprout. So I've got them in cups here. Oh, here we go. Start shipping maybe something a little bit taller, a little bit more robust. You know, it might be a little bit more expensive, but it's going to be something maybe after we cut this back a couple times, like we just popped that top right there, just so that it starts to sprout in here so we can start to see how we could, we're seeding them directly in there. Oh, so a couple, maybe a week or two ago, we had this one as an example, and we ate it. I mean, we completely ate that baby on the show here. Let's see if I can get this back up. Yeah, and she's completely back, and that's awesome. And she's already growing a new one down here, and we cut it here, and it's split out, and then we cut it again, and then it split out again. Oh, and then I popped the tops. I popped that top off just to show you, and it already regrew another top. So I popped it right there, and it just stubs it, it shortens it, it thickens it up a little bit more. And look, this one was from the other day. I popped all those leaves off, I ate those, and look, it's already regrowing new green tips. So if at any time, you know, like Stan, he got his trees, and you feel like they're not looking good, or they may even be dead. No, I don't believe so. I believe that they just need to be a little bit watered. I think they need to be a little bit cared for the next few days. When you first get them, you can possibly pop this green off at the very top, which may help keep this, maybe just keep this on it, you know, keep this on. It may not have any green on it. Let this completely die back. That's giving that nutrient back to the root, so that way it can go back down now and then resprout a whole new tip. And so that's what I anticipate even with this one. As we just repotted it and you get your tree and it looks like this, it may completely die back, this one, but that energy is going back down in, and it's going to resprout a whole new tip. So thank you, Stan. Thanks for sharing. You know, if you have any questions, or you want to send me some photographs like Stan did, send them in an email, grow@newnursery.com. If you have a text, I don't get photos on the text. We have a new business text line. But send me a question and we'll answer it here on Moringa Tea Answers, or at least another platform, or I'll get back to you directly on the question. So, wow, we're in it. We're in it now. 30 minutes in. So many things already that I want to it's not even 9 o'clock yet. It's Saturday. It's not even 9. Rhonda says that she's interested in being a part of just being a part and on board. Please send me more details about being a part and being on board. Just grow moringa trees. That's the best way to be on board is by helping us purchase moringa trees, so that way we can continue to grow our co-op. It's ours. It's for the people, the members, so that way we can all start making dividends back from growing moringa trees on our properties. And that's what I want to get into, teaching you about the co-op, the business model. And I'm also coming out with like independent contracts, like independent contractor agreements for people that already have their own businesses. They may have a special skill. We may need something done immediately, like say 50 hours or 100 hours worth of this particular task that person may be skilled in. If you have a special skill that you believe could be useful for the co-op, for us at Numa Nursery, even just for helping potting up seeds, like Blake, we could use more help even just being out here potting up seeds daily and regularly. We could use some help processing greens inside the farmhouse. We could use more help harvesting greens out here locally. We could use more help people trying to sell moringa at a wholesale price, I think, as that comes in with the harvesting. And so I'm trying to figure out how everybody can help and be on board. The best way right now is to get all of these moringa trees sold in someone's hands, in someone's yard, growing. I mean, we have thousands of moringa trees here. We just sent out 1,000 moringa trees last week in the mail. And Bill K says, yo, Uncle Bob, just want to let you know all the moringa trees are healthy and getting big fast. Thanks for your wise words, and we'll be buying from you in the future. Thanks, Bill. Wow. I shared that with Uncle Bob this morning as I wrote that down from the email, and he was like, yes. Uncle Bob is a genuine heart and soul. We met Uncle Bob about 2 years ago at one of our co-op locations. I was harvesting the trees. Uncle Bob was cutting the grass, and he's like, what is that? And that sparked our relationship. He started buying moringa greens powder in kilos from us and started using it about every month. He's like, yo, I need another kilo. And I'm like, really? And he started getting my attention by like the 4th, 5th month. I'm like, so what are you doing? And he's like, man, I'm fasting on moringa. He's like, I'm healing my body. I'm getting rid of toxins. I'm clearing up some old damage that, from surgeries and things. Uncle Bob is about 60 years old, and he's been a worker. He's been a workhorse. He's the Chinese New Year of the ox. And so he has spent his entire life just grinding it out, working for others in production areas. I mean, he's worked for large companies like Publix and Walmart. And so it's just run down his body. But he wakes up today, he's like, I have no pain. I have no pain, no sores, nothing in his bones. He gets up, he's limber, and he's out here with us, and he's loving it. He just loves the moringa vibes. And so we're loving having Uncle Bob a part of the team, and seeing, as a firsthand account, testimonial as to what moringa can really do for someone consistently using it. Not only my own testimonial, but someone else's close to me. He lives right here with us at the farm, Numa Farms, in Plant City, that we just got a couple months ago. I was homeless for about 1.5 years coming into this property. And, I actually worked here 5 years ago. And so we're just still in awe that we're here and practicing on the land. I mean, it's beautiful. There's a creek a little bit further back there. It's just beautiful. We love it here. It's a beautiful space. So just wanted to say thanks for all the comments. That was really nice of everyone. Okay, so we got to Stans. He's like, the seedlings were smashed, broken, or wilted. What do I do to save them? So yes, so if you get your trees and cones and they may not look, 100%, just give them some time. They went through some shock. Give them some water. Let them come back. If you have to pop the tops, that's okay. Just preserve that root system. Get those roots, cared for, taken care of, and that's going to resprout a whole new tip for you. And those all new tips continually, like with moringa, will continue to regenerate all new greens constantly. Wow, this is good. I don't think I talked for a while yesterday. It was quiet. I was actually working outside in the nursery probably all day from 2 o'clock to 8 o'clock. Nursery life, I love it. So thanks for bearing with me. Emails. So Stephanie Firefly asks if we would be interested in farming moringa on her property. Yes, this is what the co-op does. We are most certainly interested in growing moringa on your property. We want to grow thousands of moringa trees on your property, Stephanie. Help us. Purchase some moringa trees, get those in your hands, take care of them. Those are your trees, and get back to us when they get bigger after you've utilized our courses, classes, free books, and also my question answering skills here on this show. And over the next year or 2 years, as you're growing your trees, get back to us and we can harvest the greens. We do want to grow moringa on your property, but as one person, how do I manage already the existing 300 properties? Each person involved in the co-op has to be an active participant in the co-op in learning and teaching and growing and fertilizing and watering and trimming and harvesting. In these first couple years, it's crucial for each person to be up in the know, which is why we're having these discussions, because we need more people to know what's going on with moringa, how to grow moringa, and that's why I want to give you all of these tools for free, so that way we don't waste any more time. Like, I've been growing moringa for about six years. About 10 years ago, there was an insurgence of information about moringa here, and then even in the 70s, started an influx of moringa in Florida. Or the early 1900s, 1908, moringa was growing in Marion County on the books. The state of Florida has it. They were cultivating it as a cash crop. I mean, even to this day, thousands and thousands of years after it was first cultivated and domesticated by the Indians, Africans, there's different types of moringa trees. There was an African variety that was developed in Africa and spread with different varieties. There was an Indian variety that has mostly been the variety that everyone uses around the world for drumsticks and leaves. All places that have moringa are, moringa is great in all different ways, shapes, and forms. Which is better? That's up for you to decide. I'm helping by deciding myself. Like, I'm trying to figure out which one is better. So I'm starting with the oleifera. I may go to the stenopetala, figure out some benefits about that. It may just be different. We're learning, but I wanted to at least start with the oleifera somewhere. Okay, so thanks for holding on as I go through these little rants. I can even hear my ears ringing when I do that and I get going. Bang. I'm passionate about getting this information out. We were so busy this week. I'm trying to figure out, how do I answer these questions the best? So I'm glad I can use this as a platform to get it out. I'm going to go ahead and link this video to everyone's questions, so that way they can also learn a little bit extra than just that one question they may ask or have, which usually leads to about 5 or 10 more questions, which is why I'm making these videos, because the one question of, how does it grow, or how much moringa do you need as a co-op? And I'll get into that question actually. Mauricia asks, so hopefully that answers your question, Stephanie Firefly. She wants more information about farming moringa on her property. Send me an email with your property details if you'd like me to help you design, maybe redline, figure out a space to grow them, how many you'd like to grow them. I like them spaced out about 7 or 8 feet, on a double row, staggered. I have that information in some previous videos, and then also for drumsticks, about 15 feet apart. So maybe come up with a little plan, and maybe get a little diagram for me so I can see. I'm an architect, and I would love to help you with your designs. And then we have specials. We have lots of specials. So we have the 10 free trees. We've got seeds if you want to start growing and planting your own seeds. We have trays available, pots, some soil if you want to pick up some soil. Just make an appointment on the website, numanursery.com, and we'll help you get started I'm glad that you're interested in growing moringa on your property. I want to help you. Help me help you. Come by, and learn more about the moringa tree. Maybe 100. Start with 100. I mean, that's good. We just sold 200 trees to TJ, and he's gonna get his moringa food forest popping. He said, I'm gonna get these things cut back. They're gonna be short. They're gonna be bushy. Some of them are gonna have drumsticks, and he's like, we're gonna hit you up as soon as they're ready, so that way we can sell you those greens. So that way you can sell them to other people. And this is the co-op. Mauricia asks if she can grow moringa in New York. Indoors. Yes, you can most certainly grow moringa trees in New York. Indoors, you may need special conditions. She asked, like, what's the best soil to use? So, best local resources, what's directly in the ground. Maybe go to a park, find a nice big tree, dig up the soil around that tree. Dark, melanin rich matter. The darker, the better. You know, get your soil dark. We have a little bit of lighter soil here, some peat, but I know over time as it breaks down, we're adding mulch, we're adding azomite, we're adding minerals that it's going to darken up. I like to drop worms into each pot. Like I'll get a handful of worms from the compost, and I'll just go and drop worms into each pot, and that's fertilizer. That helps. That one worm is going to multiply in that pot. It's going to make babies, and each one of these pots are going to be blasted organically. So soil, you know, it can be sandy soil, not clay soil, I don't think, but loamy, humus, you know, just standard potting soil. I think like you can get regular potting soil anywhere. It doesn't need anything special like a succulent or a cactus soil. Not so much like a rocky soil. I did actually try growing with these pots. I started putting like little rocks at the bottom just to see what would happen if they grew better. No, they didn't grow better actually. I think maybe it changed the pH, maybe acidified the pH. So be careful with rocks. It could change the pH of the soil. And just, you know, it could be sandy. It could, you know, oak mulch. I would stay away from pine and palm. They have alleles in them that prevent other things from growing. Pine and palm are good for, like, say, pathways and walkways, but you don't want to put that actually in your pot unless it's like blueberries, which like it a little bit more acidic. They actually can thrive in that. And so she's also asking, are there chemicals in the rainwater? Yes, most certainly. Tap water, you know, with the chloride and fluoride and things like that, you know, it's maybe distilled water, maybe add a little bit of liquid minerals, you know, do the same thing that you would do for your body. You know, what does the tree need is what you need. And so think of it like a child. That's what I do. If you're growing it in New York in a pot, yes, get it in a little bit of a larger pot. You can put it on a balcony. It's going to need a lot of sun. Hopefully you can get some southern exposure. And also if you grow it indoors, it may need a sun. It may need a light, a lamp. You know, you may need a fan on it to keep it windy, so that way this stays strong. Because if it gets to where there's no wind and it's not strengthening up, like the wind helps strengthen this up, it'll get stronger. So I usually have, if it's indoors, I'll put a fan on it, and we got a nice bird over here. It's my house. I don't know, maybe if I talked over him, he'll be like, oh man, I gotta get out of here. No, he's like, I'm not going. I ain't going nowhere. This is my neighborhood. All right, I'll be quiet, man. I'll make it quick. All right, so Jorge asks, how tall should they be before taking them out of the 6-inch cones? A lot of people ask, like, you know, tall-wise. Tall doesn't always necessarily mean so much with the moringa tree. It's about age. And so, you know, maybe wait a week, 2 weeks. I think Jorge sent a photo in Uncle Bob's phone showing us that he took the cones, and waited until they came back, bounced back. They started straightening back up again after just keeping them in the cones for like 2 weeks. He says they've been in the cones for like 2 weeks after he got them, and so he's like, now what do I do? And so now you can just squeeze that out, try to get it to pop out, and then put that in a whole new pot. It may look like this. It may go back into shock again. It's okay. Just cut this back. You're getting yourself going down there in that root system. And it's going to start sprouting up, a whole new stem. You can regularly cut it back and it just, sprouts out again. So yeah, thanks, Jorge. Hopefully that answers your questions. I really want to be transparent in this process of getting Moringa to you. That's the reason why the 10 free trees are so popular right now. We're getting thousands and thousands of trees out. Order yours at newmanursery.com, and you'll see for yourself that you can start growing Moringa. See how easy it is, how easy they bounce back. If they're sensitive, they are very sensitive to heat and being in a box. So please don't be too alarmed when you receive them. Just be patient with nature and trust and give it some extra love and energy. I promise the yellowing is okay. It's just going to keep growing taller. The yellows are going to drop. All right. So let's see. We got all the comments. And so we had a lot of questions this week, particularly about how to join the co-op. And that's great. I'm super excited to share and teach everybody how to join the co-op. And so maybe I should just give you a little bit of background information about how I started the co-op, what the co-op is, and how you're learning about the co-op and why we're sharing it on this platform, Newman Nursery's YouTube channel. So in 2014, I started planting moringa trees on other people's properties. And over time, they started growing and started growing this business and thought maybe this is actually like a co-op. As I started to develop behind the scenes the organization of the co-op over the past couple years, we've learned from our members what the direction that we need to go. And this is the one thing that I love to do is when someone says something to me like, hey, you should have this, or you should do this, and you should do that, all these suggestions, I'm like, at first I'm like, yeah. But then after I kind of like take a moment and I say, let me write that down. I write it down, I let it go, I release it, I wrote it down, I don't have to hold on to it. I'm like, that's a great idea. I write it down, and I'm like, wait. And I see it, we should really do that. And so that's how the co-op has been forming. And so like, we have two different companies. We have Numa Nursery and the Moringa Growers Co-op. And I'm simultaneously growing both of these companies. Numa Nursery is a for-profit company that I am the sole owner of. The Moringa Growers Co-op is a not-for-profit corporation that is owned by the members of the co-op. The people that are growing the trees. It's owned by the people that are working the co-op, like the board of directors, the harvesters, the teachers. And everything is being shared amongst its members and then being divided and allocated out with dividends, like the profits. That's why not for profit. The company operates at cost and gives the profits back to the people. And Numa Nursery here is a business that I wanted to start as a local company and only source from local companies. And so we were getting calls all the time like, hey, we'd love to get Indian moringa, or we'd love to get African moringa. We'd love to get moringa from the Philippines as I'm growing this local moringa business. And I'm like, this is really growing and exceeding my capabilities right now, because we're getting all these. Why am I turning down someone saying, no, only local, we're only local, we're only local? And this is, yes, this is true as what I want Numa Nursery to be. I really want Numa to be a Tampa Bay local base source products, plastic free, sustainable company with permaculture practices and recycling programs and educational programs, mostly local. This is my passion. I want to do some things small, hyper local, in scale, that can still reach a mass amount of people here in the Tampa Bay area. This is where I want to start with this company. And I still have this urge to grow the moringa industry globally. And so as I serve on the board at this time as the president of the Moringa Growers Co-op and the sole board of directors of the Moringa Growers Co-op, we're growing internationally with farmers around the world, as we also are growing the Tampa Bay moringa scene. And Numa Nursery on paper purchases moringa from the co-op. And so I'll write a check, Numa Nursery will write a check and pay the Moringa Growers Co-op for the kilos that it is purchasing to put in its products. So the co-op is really the outreach. And so like Numa Nursery myself only wants local, only wants Tampa Bay. Numa only buys Tampa Bay moringa, Tampa Bay moringa, Tampa Bay moringa. But this is one arm of the co-op, because somebody's calling for Indian moringa, someone's calling for African moringa. And that's why someone who called and was like, hey, you know, there's a farm down in West Palm Beach and they've got 100 acres and they're growing moringa and they're a competition. True, they may be competition for Numa Nursery, but they're not competition to the co-op in a sense. I told that person, well, maybe the co-op could buy some of their greens, and that could be West Palm Beach moringa. You know, can that farm sell Filipino moringa? It could, if it was to purchase it from somebody just randomly and to resell it, but that's not what we're doing. And so there's no real competition in a sense in that particular way, where like that farm's got more land, or, you know, their prices are lower. That answers that goes into a whole nother thing, is that we want to keep our prices high. So a guy called and was like, hey, you're selling moringa for $100 a kilo. I'm like, yeah, what's wrong with that? And he's like, well, I can get kilos for $5 from India. I'm like, well, then please go right ahead. You know, that's not, and I want to pay my farmers a good wage, myself included. And so in order for me to farm that, I have to get paid a certain amount of money to keep this business going. So we're setting the prices higher so that way it takes care of those farmers in Mexico and India and Africa. So that way they're not having to work for slave wages, in essence, and they're being robbed of their land, and large corporations are able to, you know, indentured servant them still to this day. Cartels are taking over lands and forcing people to grow things. Like, it's crazy. Like the farming agriculture thing, like, business is wild. So competition in a sense, well, can that farm in West Palm Beach, can they source moringa from all over the world? They could, but as a co-op, we're doing that and making that known, that when you call the co-op, it's going to have moringa from around the world, and we're going to be organizing farmers around the world. We are organizing farmers around the world now, but like I said, it's just myself. It's a startup, and we have a huge presence online because I'll sit there for 16, 18 hours a day on the computer, and I'll do my, my photoshopping thing, and I'll do the video thing, and it's been, 5 years where every day where I'm putting stuff out. And so now it's starting to get some attention, and people are coming. Like, we'll go to this message right now. From Facebook Messenger, and please, you can reach me there as well. This is from, let's see, I'm going to go to the business one. And so just wanting you to get a handle on these two companies that I'm running. Numa Nursery is the brand, it's local, It's only buying Tampa Bay Moringa and selling Tampa Bay Moringa to its customers. That's what's on the labels. That's what we provide. Tampa Bay Moringa, Numa Nursery is all Tampa, all local in this area. And then I also get a little bit of my global fix by being able to get in contact with more farmers around the world, and we're able to source moringa and take care of moringa as a whole, as an industry in the co-op. And I'm excited to get a board of directors, a new president, a new vice president, secretary, treasurer, and so we're looking for positions. And if you are around the world and want to be a part of the co-op, just send me an email, text me 813-567-3100. Let me know exactly what you'd like to be. We have different positions. What fits you the best? What kind of skills do you have? Let me know a little bit about you, and we'll see where you can fit. If you have a special skill that you might be able to do even remotely, wherever you are in the world, the co-op needs people around the world. People are like, in Texas, I don't know if I'm too far away to join your co-op. No, the co-op is global. Someone in California, I don't know if I'm too far away to join your co-op. No, the co-op is global. So like we have farmers in California, yes, that are providing us with greens. So that way when someone calls in California and they say, I'd really love to get some California moringa, we have that California farmer already as a member. They already are growing it in practices that we agree with. And so then we're able to source that California moringa from the California farmer and pay that farmer a good wage because of the fair trade practices that we're implementing for moringa farmers around the world. So that way it's like oil, like there's a standard. And so like I believe that the moringa tree industry is lacking a standard. As it went from 2 billion GDP to 4 billion GDP in the last 5 years, what I mean is moringa has now sold over 4 billion and raised $4 billion globally on the market. Business is a booming. Okay, so yeah, let me go to one of the messages, and this is from someone in India, actually in Gujarat. And just asking everyone to just be patient with me because it is a startup, so everyone's kind of a little demanding, as if we were already maybe 10, 20 years old as a corporation, as a co-op. And we're very young. We only have maybe 300 properties in the Tampa Bay area that's providing that Tampa Bay moringa to Numa Nursery, but we really only have a few moringa farmers around the world globally that we're in talks with right now, because there's membership fees, there's testing that needs to be involved, and so we ask everyone to be patient. It's not just we're going to buy your greens, and I think this is what this person thought we were going to do. So we're getting lots of messages from farmers in India and Africa right now that are like, buy my greens. I have a moringa farm, buy my greens. If I wanted to do that, I could go on Amazon, I could go on eBay, and I could buy greens. I could if I wanted to do that. As a co-op, we don't want to do that. And I say that it's just me. It's not just me. It's just me, say, in the administration part of things, organizing behind the scenes. But there are already hundreds, if not thousands of people already trickling down that are now keeping in touch with us, waiting for their trees to get bigger, taking in all this information now as we share it, and patiently getting their trees big enough to where they can be an asset to the co-op and not someone that's constantly asking, say, for my time individually when I just need to. And that's why I'm playing this smart, so that way everybody's getting this information. It saves my energy so much. I've been able to stay a little bit more quiet so that way I can answer these questions more effectively and have the patience also for someone that is very demanding like this person. I felt was a little bit disrespectful, and that's the thing, with the internet. Sometimes, like, someone does make a comment, give it freely with no expectation, because someone who's messaging me that, maybe say expecting me to get back to them right away, in this way, said just after maybe like 2 or 3 messages, and I know this is crazy to even mention, but they said, stop wasting my fucking time, after sending me 3 messages. yeah, within maybe a day period, 9th, 10th, yeah, and on the 11th. So yes, it took 3 days for me to get back to this person. And I was wasting their time because they commented or sent me a message and I didn't get back to them. I'm extremely sorry that I cannot get back to everyone. I'm getting thousands of messages on different platforms. If I see it in that moment and I pull from it and I can grab it and I can use it, thank you. And if I miss it, I'm extremely sorry. It's just the nature of this beast that's happening, is that I can't see everything. I'm getting more eyes on things to help us with these questions. But what I did, I'm very proud of myself for just saying, how can I help you? And I don't want to waste your time. I was mad at first. I'm like, waste your time? Like, don't waste my time. And this is where I had to flip it. No, he's not wasting my time. Let me see, how can I help? What's going on? It'll help build this is what builds this business so fast, is by me going in and saying, no, how am I wasting this person's time? They obviously do not have the answers to their questions right away. They don't have the answers right now. So how do I give them answers faster? And from this message, it motivated me. Thank you, motivation God, because you motivated me to write a several paragraph answer to this question to explain it better. And so if you'd like to receive that answer to his question, just email me at grow@pneumonursery.com and I'll send you my response to this email. Because he said, I don't want to waste your time. And he said, well, then don't let others wait for your reply. And he's waiting for proper guidance for planting moringa in his farm. He has 15 acres of farmland in Gujarat, and he's planning on planting moringa on it. And my guidance would be perfect, because it seems like I'm an experienced person, and he has PKM2 seeds, and he's looking for how to grow it organically. And he got my attention. He's like, stop wasting my fucking time. And he got my attention. And so I said, hey, I'm really trying to get back with everyone. Please understand, I have thousands of messages coming in a day. And I'm sorry, you just have to give your comment freely, so that way if I can grab it, I can pick it up. If I didn't see it the first one, comment it again. Like, this is the nature of the thing. So, but you know what? I am here to help. And this is what I said. And maybe I'm not expressing things correctly. Have you visited our YouTube channel? Are there some questions in there that I haven't answered? He's like, dude, I've been to your channel. And then he got right into it and he goes, would you buy leaf powder from me? And this is where we get down to it. He was maybe not truly genuine in wanting to learn the guidance, my guidance for growing the trees. And this is why it's hard. Like, this is why I may be starting to ask more questions up front as to what your intentions are. Intentions. Because then he jumped right into, would you buy the leaf powder from me? And it's organic. And I said, yes, I would. Most certainly. I most certainly would. And I also said, please help me as I'm organizing not only him, but also thousands of other farmers that are trying to contact me. They're like, hey, I have 15 acres here. I have 100 acres here. Hey, I have 1,000 acres here. Great. And this is where I sent him the email to pretty much go in on where we can go from here. And he's like, so just once again, how much would you buy the powder from me? And I said, hey, this is a startup. It's going to take some time to get people in the right places for us to do that. What area you are in? And I'm actively saying, well, let me learn more, because he wants to just know if we're going to buy the powder from him. And yes, we are. As a co-op, we need to have some things in place. We want to know the farmers. We want to know the land. We want to know the practices. We're not just going to buy greens. That's what sets us apart from just someone like that's just a reseller. The co-op actually grows, cultivates, and builds people, not just trees. This is my business, and what I realize is that I'm not in the moringa business. I'm in the business of people. And so I want to cultivate people and farmers and teach and educate. And so I maybe just didn't feel like this person was completely genuine. They just wanted me to buy their greens. And I understand that. I know that it's important to get that out of the way. And I answered this question actually here. And so we got to know each other a little bit more. I said, so, hey, man, where are you from? And I spent some time. And I said, you know what? This person really would love some of my attention. Let me go ahead and give it to them, you know, and help them out, and not kind of like maybe be like my old self and not my business self, because there's two different people here that's starting to grow. And maybe, you know, the person that I was maybe in high school or college as a private individual operating, now in the public, I handle myself a little bit differently. How I get back to people, how I answer questions, always trying to maintain a level of respect and patience and love and overstanding, and try to understand where they're coming from. I know that when I put out the video of make 100K growing moringa, a lady called me right away and was like, hey, I need you to come over here right now and harvest my trees right now. My rent is due tomorrow, and I'm going to get kicked out of my house tomorrow, and I need you to come and cut my trees right now and pay me. And I said, yes, I mean, I definitely want to pay you. Can you send me a picture of your trees? No, come right now. Come right now. I need you to come right now, cut my trees, and I need you to pay me. And I said, ma'am, just let's talk. And after like an hour, we ended up talking, and now she loves, comments, talks all the time with us because of learning about this system. She sent a photo, and it was just a couple of sticks, like 20 feet tall with a little bit of greens up top. And I said, ma'am, there's no way that I can come by and harvest a little bit of greens and pay you for that. We need kilos and kilos of greens in order to pay you. What do I do then? Cut your moringa tree back, get it low, get it bushy, learn how to grow these trees a little bit more bushy, and get back to us in like a year after it's gotten bushy. And she may not want to hear that right away. She had just saw the video. She thought it was a get quick, get rich quick thing. And that's what I'm not trying to make it, but I do want people to know that you can make some serious money. I mean, I made $10,000 last month on moringa alone. And yes, it's taken 5 years, and I have different channels and avenues in place with moringa, not just the trees, but also the products. Not just that, but my teaching and classes and courses that bring in sales also, my free things that then bring in as a funnel to also get people to purchase products. I mean, this is the nature of business, and that's what we want to teach others that are coming up into this, that it's not just about moringa trees. It's about people and teaching and giving back and producing content for people to learn from, and and just using moringa is my passion. People see that comes through at the farmers market. Like, I have literally just been talking moringa for years. And so that's why I took some time with Motivation God and from Gujarat, India. And we got to know each other. We spent some time. He was like, I loved your 100K video, moringa video. And I'm like, thanks, man. Like how much, what can I do to help? Like how, because anytime someone's really asking these questions and I'm not understanding where they're coming from, why they're asking it, they may just not fully understand what we need from farmers. We have to set the standard. Like, we're not just, like, someone might be growing, like I mentioned, moringa. Like, this person might have had tomatoes on their field grown conventionally with pesticides and chemicals, and then rip that out, planted moringa the next year, and then is calling me like, hey, I've got hundreds of kilos of moringa from land that might have absorbed heavy metals. They might not have growing practices in mind that we agree with. So we want to get to know each one of our farmers, and that's what this trust that we're building with the co-op. When people purchase from us this higher standard premium product that they get, because they know that the love, it trickles all the way down into the roots, and you feel it, and it's high vibe when you eat it, and you're getting the real nutrients that you need, that ether. And that's what's important, that power behind it when you're eating it, and the intention. And that's why I mentioned it's not so bad to say necessarily eat animals. It's about the intention behind having to kill the animal. And yesterday I was at Trailbell Farm, and it was a beautiful thing. They were processing chickens. We had a conversation while they were processing chickens, And I haven't eaten chickens in about 7 years, but I told them, look, I love what you're doing. I support you. I want more people to buy from you. I'm going to share that Trail Bale Farm offers free range chickens here in Tampa at a great price. They're harvesting and making their chickens fresh. They just had a harvest day yesterday, and they're super fresh right now. You can get them Trail Bale Farm. Travis from Trail Bale Farm, he'll hook you up, he'll deliver. He's also at St. Pete Farmers Market. They grow moringa trees on their properties with us, and that's what I want to encourage, is that everybody is producing and making, and I love what they're doing. I mean, that was great. I mean, it was beautiful. It was really a beautiful thing to see, and this is what I want to support, is that intention behind it, because I know that he's loving, he's caring for these things the whole time, and that when you eat that, no matter what it is, it's got it in it. Yes, you have the ability to transmute that and bless it and pray over it and turn anything into gold. But it's also good to know that your farmer is also putting that gold in there for you, even just from the get-go. And that's why it's important for us to even get out there and transparent, so that you get to know me as your moringa farmer. And I'm dedicated to make sure that everyone knows, because he's like, question mark, hello, how many, because he wants to know how much I can buy from him. Because he goes, how many tons of powder do you require yearly? As a co-op, we haven't required anything yet. Only Numa Nursery has been buying Tampa Bay moringa from the co-op. That's all that it's kind of started off by doing, is growing this Tampa Bay scene. That's kind of what I was trying to figure out over the last couple of years, was what do these two entities do? And so he was asking, how much does it require yearly? I mean, I have land, I have raw moringa, and you're making moringa products, so we should get along good together. I mean, you have a brand and I have land, so what's up? That's pretty much what he just said. And I said, and I thought about it, like, yes, like there are hundreds of thousands, if not millions of acres of land just in Florida growing moringa. Imagine India. India is like 99% of the world's moringa supply. There's moringa farms everywhere in India. So yes, I mean, I could have every moringa farmer in India hitting me up right now. But the thing is that we have a story to tell people. And we want you as a moringa farmer in India and Africa and in South America and Mexico and Texas to tell us your story. Tell us your story about how you came across moringa. What's moringa done for you? Your testimonial. Why are you growing moringa? We can learn about your property, your land, what, the energy that's going into the trees that is being grown from it. I mean, we've got some information coming out about our moringa farmer in Mexico, Adrian. I mean, he's growing moringa trees. He's been growing moringa trees with the co-op for 2 years. We've been training him. He's been building his infrastructure up on his farm. He's now got 45 2-year-old moringa trees, 4,500 2-year-old moringa trees in Mexico, starting to help supply the Moringa Growers Co-op with Mexican moringa. And this is what's so beautiful about it, was when someone calls me and they say, hey, can I get moringa? I can say, yes, from where? Would you like Tampa Bay moringa? Would you like Mexican moringa? Would you like Indian moringa, African moringa, Texas moringa, California moringa? That's the power of the co-op. And that's why I wanted to give back to him, to teach people about what this is and what we're all doing together as a co-op. And so I mentioned to him, as I mentioned, this is a startup. I've been growing and selling moringa trees for 5 years on a very small scale. I don't really know how much is required for the co-op just yet in moringa pounds or kilos. It depends on how much we can sell. And that's the thing, is like, once the co-op gets a board of directors and it has like salespeople in place, it's going to be able to sell the moringa that's getting out there. I can only do so much as kind of like the architect of the whole project and getting things in place and forming it and starting it up. But this is where the team, and I'm a team player, I'm all about team. That's why I was really interested in forming the co-op, because I was the president of a fellowship. President of my fraternity, president of my Boy Scouts club. My whole life I've been, gearing and priming myself for this time right now as the president of this group. I mean, in architecture school, we were in groups constantly, and I love working in groups. And so that's why I want to work all of us together now as a group, as farmers, to help everyone like Motivation God that has a question about how they can team up as farmers with the co-op. And so I said, we're just getting things going now. We've sold more moringa in the past 3 weeks than we have in the entire 5 years of the co-op. And so everything is happening right now. So all this excitement, everybody's like, what do we do? What do we do? What do we do? Just keep growing moringa trees. We're going to get this information out. We're going to teach more people so that way we have a higher level of understanding, overstanding, playing field. And that way we can all tackle this moringa tree industry together as we all come together and supply it in sustainable ways, not just hacking it back and degrading the land. Like, we want to be able to constantly restore the soil. Like we want the farmers to have biochar capabilities. We want to have, make sure there's manure possibilities, whether it's goat or horse or cow, and what to do for each one of those types of manures to break down before putting it on the trees. We want everything organic. And so I said to Motivation God, we can go very well together, but I can only buy it from you as the moringa farmer once we set up the salespeople to sell it. Because he's like, can you, maybe buy 100 kilos from me? I'm like, I could, but I'd have to have someone in place to help me sell that 100 kilos. And so that's why this team is important. So looking for sales, sales team. And I said, I'm really excited with you. Just be patient with me as I try to get everyone's questions answered. And he's like, okay, just tell me right now, what is the price that you purchase moringa from? And what he's like, I'm sorry, because I was like, well, just read the manual because it's in there. And he's like, I'm sorry. And so we started, by me being a real person, he kind of came back a little bit. He was like, hey, look, I'm sorry for being so. I'm like, hey, it's okay, man. Just, I'm a person too, and I'm getting thousands, like I said, of messages, people asking what's going on, and that's why we're putting this information out. And I wrote him the email, huge email, explains exactly how this is broken down. If you want that email me at grow@newmanursery.com. And so it laid out essentially what we have in place for farmers. And I kind of want to go to that email now because it's a great email to talk about this video, because this video, mostly I want it to be titled How to Join the Moringa Growers Co-op. One of which is just by getting trees and just by starting to grow your own moringa trees is the best way to join the co-op. So I want to see if maybe we can get some more. This is starting to get bright. We might have to call it pretty soon. At least there might be a part 2 of how to join the co-op. There's always going to be new updates on how to join the co-op. We'll see how long we can get this going, because I sent him the email and he was like, how much would you provide? And so maybe I should go into that email. Okay, before we do that, did we get into anybody else's? Because this was, great. And so, how to join the Moringa Growers Co-op. Okay, so let's just go to that email, because that was a really great email that I wrote it out. And I'll just kind of go over the main points. I sent it to him using the co-op. So here we go. Motivation God. I said, thanks for your interest in joining the Moringa Growers Co-op as a moringa farmer. And, we're organizing several moringa farms right now in India, Africa, Mexico, and said, just please be patient with us as we gather proper documentation and membership agreements from you. Because we wanted to know more information about each of the farmers. We're not just going to buy moringa from someone to resell it. There's plenty of resellers out there that can do that. We want to stand out from the crowd. We want to know, Tim and Debbie from Arizona, thanks for contacting us and getting us, like we're learning about each of our members, each of our grower members. They're like excited to be in the co-op. They're purchasing Moringa. They're starting their own Moringa business, which is amazing. And we're going to be sending them powder. We just made a harvest yesterday. Actually, we're sending their greens in a couple of days. They got 10 kilos. Yes. And so they're going to be bagging them up, and they're going to be giving them to their friends and family and starting their own website, sourcing from the co-op, getting their own business going. They may be growing trees too. They can't supply everyone in their business with their own trees just yet, but they're sourcing from us, getting it going, and that helps us grow the co-op, helps them grow their business. It's a win-win for everybody. And so I told them that I started planting trees in 2014. I mean, this is how the co-op started in Tampa. So most of the trees in the co-op right now are just in Tampa. These are all fairly young trees planted over the last 6 years on over 300 properties. Some of those trees have formed drumsticks, and some of those trees were already in place at the time of Kendrick showing up. Because people heard about me in the neighborhood and they were like, hey, Kendrick, I have a moringa tree. You should come by my property and harvest. And so we talked. I learned about them, their tree, where it came from. Are they using any kind of fertilizer? Do they have any sprays in their yard? What's it being watered with? And if everything checks off on the list of what we can do to make sure that it's safe and organic in that first regards, we sign them up and they learn about it. We do some testings. We find out more information about where the tree came from, what it has in it. We get some fertilizer. We come back organic by azomite rock dust. We drop mulch on it. We'll put some, compost tea on there. We'll put some worm castings on there. Then we'll come back after the tree has gotten a little bit more food and energy and the greens are nice and dark. Then we'll come and harvest and make sure that we get those greens, because that's the type of greens that we want to put in our products. And so I said to Motivation God, since all the co-op growers are primarily based in Tampa, and we want to help, and they want to help see the local co-op succeed first here in their own respective chapters, because several of the grower members that have been growing moringa in Tampa have actually formed their own chapters in their own little cities, where they have like neighborhoods now, and they gather and they teach each other about moringa. Okay, so we're going to be wrapping up this here soon. Josie's here now. Wonderful. Okay, and just want to finish this email about how to join the co-op. And so currently, what I've been doing right here in the Tampa Bay area is going to harvest the moringa trees from people, and we make trades. So because he was asking how much will we buy the greens from, and so like to get into that exactly is that since we're just a startup and people want to help us get the moringa business going, we've been able to make trades for their trees because they're young and they just are learning and they need help getting the trees going. We make a trade. So we'll make a harvest and we give them product in return. So we'll give them tea, or we'll give them powder, or we'll give them spice, or we'll give them oil if they have drumsticks in return for their harvest. And they're like, thank you. And they're not asking for money in return. Most of the people that I planted the trees on, they didn't even know about moringa. So they're just grateful for having the trees, having me come by. Now as they're learning, now they're asking, well, what do I get from this as my trees get bigger? And I say, well, we harvested today probably maybe a kilo's worth of greens that we have to dry. Between the labor and the cost of the time, we could provide you maybe with a couple boxes of tea, maybe a $20 bag of a 100-gram bag of powder, or if you like, maybe 100 capsules, which will last them as a trade for the next harvest. When we come by and harvest their tree again, they'll get more products from us. They can eat their greens fresh every day. There's nothing stopping them from eating their greens right off their tree fresh. It's just that whenever they call for a harvest and they want, say, maybe money for their greens, I've told everybody the situation. And they're like, really? Like, well, we don't necessarily need money right now. We want you to get going and get started. Why don't you just give us some product in return? And that's where all of these products pretty much came about, is because people were wanting products from them. They were like, well, what if we get at least products for the trade for the moringa? And I was like, that's perfect. So we started giving people capsules and oil and spice and tea in return for harvesting their trees. We'd get a little bit more than what we gave them, which allowed us to make some sales and make some extra profit and some extra income from that harvest. And so as we've been starting up over the past couple of years, now we've got some property. Now we've got some land. The co-op is teaming up with myself and Numa Nursery to make sure that it's expanding. And so this is important to know for everybody to know where we are in the co-op and what we need from everybody when we buy from them. We got to have things in place. So everyone that's learned about the co-op so far is like, Kendrick, we want you to get it going. We don't need anything from you right now. Just come, harvest, maybe give us some powder, give us some tea, and we don't need to make cash because the trees are small. They're not like huge, producing huge amounts of greens yet. It takes, several years for that to happen. So I said that we make trades for the harvested material in return for their greens and drumsticks. That way they have a personal supply for themselves until next harvest, about $50 to $100 worth of product depending on what was harvested. And these growers may only have 1 to 5 trees on their property. So the people that have 1 to 5 trees on their property, they're like, yeah, don't worry, just take it. They never even knew about moringa. They're like, yeah, we'll just take some powder, we'll just take some tea, we'll just take some capsules. Other growers, on the other hand, here in the area that also have, say, 50 trees, 100 trees, and sometimes even 1,000 trees on their property, they are asking for a monetary return on the material and are now working with us. And what we've asked those growers to do for us right now as we're starting up is to take a stock option. And this is what growers are now doing for us that have 50 trees, 100 trees, is that if we come to go make a harvest and we track the material that's dried and we put on the racks, we give them a value per dried leaf or drumstick in weight. And we're asking them to choose a stock option by putting the amount that we buy those greens at that weight as tokens in the Moringa Growers Co-op stock. And so all the growers that are now in the Tampa Bay area that have allowed me to come by to harvest, say, Trail Bell Farm, or even down here in Plant City, 50 trees, 100 trees, they're like, it's okay, Kendrick, we know you're just getting started. We're not using this land anyway. This land was unused anyways. Why don't you just come, take care of the land, take care of our trees for us? Like, they're not having to do anything to harvest their trees or work their trees. We're doing it for them for free. We're not even charging that service. And in return, we're tracking the weight for them and we're putting it back into stock with the co-op, which is also helping to build the capital of the co-op. And it's beautiful, and they're happy, we're happy. They have proof of how much stock they have in the co-op, and the co-op is growing in nature in that way, as these local members are now teaching me how to possibly get other farmers on board right now as we build the co-op, as it gets going with the board of directors. Once we have a board of directors to really help me with these tasks, we can really get this information out even more. But thanks for joining Moringa Tea A. So pay cash for their greens up front, but offer the value in dividend form throughout the year. So we'll offer it in dividends. So say if we harvested 50 kilos and it's worth X amount of dollars at the time, we put that in a stock option and we pay them back in dividends every 6 months. And this is a system that we're getting set up now. We haven't actually paid anyone just yet. They're like, don't worry, Kendrick, just hold on to it. It's fine. Just get yourself going. We trust that everything that you're doing is for the co-op and getting it built up. They're in on the ground level. They're like, we want in on this. We want to help. We don't need to take necessarily right now. Yes, they are invested in this process knowing that it takes years for their trees to produce enough to even get something back from them. If I'm going there, if I'm getting a handful, and they're like, what do I get? What do I get? And I'm like, well, I just spent 2 hours harvesting this handful of greens for you. Like, now I need to go, make dinner with this, And so it's like we have to wait until the trees get big enough to where we all can necessarily co-op from. So it just takes time to get your trees big enough and to get a high quantity of trees. That's why when someone calls, can I get, maybe 5 trees, I want to make money off this, I say, you need 50, you need 100, you need 500, you need 1,000. And they're like, oh, really? Oh, yeah, but it's easy, just make a line. Like if you have a backyard, you could put 50 trees in your backyard easily. That could pay for your property taxes. I mean, this is what I've been saying for years. I've been doing it. 50 trees in a backyard, line it up as a hedge, boom, boom, boom. You're making several $1,000s possibly a year off of your trees within the 3rd or 5th year. But it takes a few years to get that level as the trees grow up. So we do have tentative prices in place to purchase moringa from farmers. Dried weight we would pay you, the farmer, $10 a kilo if we harvest the material. We would pay $20 a kilo if the moringa farmer harvests the material and brings it to the co-op in Plant City. And we'll pay $30 a kilo if it's being shipped internationally to help offset shipping costs. Meaning, if you're a farmer in India, Mexico, Africa, we'll pay $20 for the kilo, and then on top of that, we'll throw in an extra $10 just for the shipping. If it's more than that, we can only cover up to $30 a kilo if it's being shipped in. And this is the deal that we have going with some of the farmers that we've been training for several years. We have all their information, we have their growing practices, we've seen the facilities, we see how they dry it, we approve of it, it's in the standard, we've locked it in. The Moringa Growers Co-op is creating its own standard and levels, best management practices, things like that. It's all in the free manual. If you go to numanursery.com, you can learn more about the Moringa Growers Co-op by just downloading that free manual. And that will teach you and tell you all these things that I already have here, and wrote to him in a more simplified form because he just really didn't understand the manual. And I understand there's a little bit of a language barrier, and maybe he wasn't being rude. Maybe that's just how he talks, but tone, it doesn't come through sometimes in messages. And so that's why I took the time to get back to him and say that, the headquarters, and we'll pay $30, and these prices may vary subject, to the market value. But so far, the co-op right now has only purchased, to this date, 50 kilos of moringa from one farmer in Mexico, from Adrian. So far, this is the truth. This is all we've done so far internationally. Everything has just been done so far in Tampa with a few hundred local growers. And so we've been testing it. We've been training him, sustainable practices. And we most recently sourced 40 kilos of seeds from a farmer friend of ours, from one of our fraternity brothers, family members. We source moringa from seeds from them because we know their practices, and our relationship with them has grown and been built over the past 10 years, actually, before we even knew that they were moringa farmers. And so we're going to get those seeds in, see how they look, see how they grow here, and then from there we're going to make an assessment and see if that's also farmers that would want to be that we should have in the co-op as farmers. And so I'm kind of waiting for the team to be put in place so that way we can all vote on these farmers. Like, hey, do you even want this farmer with the attitude to be in the co-op? I don't know. And so who do we want to work with? Who don't we want to work with? And that's why we're asking, just be patient with us as I get a team together. They're going to help facilitate, and also be able to vote on the people that can come in and out, because it shouldn't just be one person running the co-op. I need to get a more team involved, and that way when we sit down and we have these issues that are being brought up, we can all vote on them. Yes, there are certain things that are set in place that I've laid out as the ground rules for the co-op. They can all be changed, they can all be rewritten, but also everybody has to understand fully what the co-op is really doing here, so that way it serves the farmers, it serves the people, and it's giving back. And I said for each new interested moringa farmer to sell their moringa in the co-op, all of the material needs to be tested for further sort of, we're requiring that we need to test and do analyze and make sure it's safe before we can even distribute. So like this person is just like, hey, buy my shit, essentially. And I'm like, hey, just slow down. That's not how we roll. And this process is going to take a little bit more time, on our end to organize the membership form. I have to complete the membership form for farmers in different countries. There's different requirements, agricultural requirements for registering, shipping internationally. We have to set up these, these agreements. This is how the team is also going to help me to do that too. And so for the co-op to purchase Moringa from you, it's more than just making a quick flip for us and for you. The board of directors needs to vote on new grower members, and there's a membership fee for each farmer in the co-op. We cannot simply purchase Moringa greens from you at this time without the voting process being completely set up. And so we don't